My name is Nicole Bukowski. My topic today is child discipline and spanking. My specific purpose is to persuade my audience not to use physical forms of punishment to discipline their children. As I was doing some investigation on this subject, I found an article about violence that really made sense to me, and I'd like to share it with you. In 1978, Astrid Lindgren received the German Book Trade Peace Prize for her literary contributions. In acceptance, she told the following story. When I was about 20 years old, I met an old pastor's wife who told me that when she was young, she had her first child. She didn't believe in striking children at the time, although spanking kids with a switch that was pulled from a tree was the standard punishment at the time. But one day, when her son was about 4 or 5, he did something that she felt warranted a spanking for the first time in his life. She told him that he would have to go outside and get a switch from a tree that she would have to spank him with. The boy was gone for a long time, and when he'd come back in, he was crying. He said to her, "Mama, I couldn't find a switch, but here's a rock that you can throw at me." All of a sudden, the mother understood how the situation felt from the child's point of view. That if my mother wants to hurt me, then it makes no difference what she does it with. She might as well do it with a stone. And the mother took the boy to her lap, and they both cried. Then she laid the rock on the shelf in the kitchen to remind herself, never violence. And that is something that I think everyone should keep in mind, because violence begins when children are very young. I have been a child care provider for 17 years now, and in my personal experiences in watching children, I believe that hitting and spanking only teaches the child exactly that, how to hit and spank. If they learn to behave only through fear, what is that teaching them? It makes more sense to show them how to react to bad behavior instead of showing them more bad behavior in response to their bad behavior. Behavior research shows that there are actually more effective methods of discipline. Spanking may work temporarily to stop children's problem behavior, but it may not change their behaviors in the long run. One problem with physical punishment is that it can escalate gradually into more extreme occasions, more extreme actions that can cause serious harm to children over time. It may take more and more force time after time to keep these children to listen. And the more and more force you use, the more aggressive these children are learning to be. Some children even respond to physical punishment by becoming more aggressive to other children, to parents, to friends, to siblings. The best way to be sure that you will not harm your child physically or emotionally is to find alternatives for physical punishment that are practical, safe, and effective. A good place to start is to ask yourself, what do I really want to teach my child about how to behave? What values am I instilling upon them? What kind of adult do I want him or her to grow up to be? I'd like you to take a look at the graph. The graph is from the Center of Improvement of Child Caring from 2005. This is the percentages of parents using corporal punishment by the age of the child. These are the ages of the children. Over 30% of the parents report using corporal punishment during the first year of a child's life. 90% indicate that they used it during the 4th and 5th years, decreasing as they got older, as it comes down. As previously mentioned, what are we teaching our children? To hit? We want them to learn to behave, not to be afraid of being hit. Corporal punishment is dangerous. Based on a study by Elizabeth Gerhoff, corporal punishment is associated with increased aggression. One study showed that corporal punishment to halt aggression increased the risk of aggressive behavior by 50%. According to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, 142,000 children in the United States are severely injured by corporal punishment. 18,000 of these children suffer a permanent disability due to their injury. Adults may not know their own strength. Corporal punishment in the home has been banned in 31 countries, including Spain, Israel, Kenya, and Costa Rica. No such prohibition exists in the United States, although 32 states have laws forbidding teachers and administrators from striking their students. Spanking in schools, usually with a wooden or a fiberglass paddle, is still allowed by law in 19 states. The practice is more prevalent in the Midwest and in the South. According to a report of the Juvenile Information Exchange, more than 28,500 students in Georgia were spanked in 2008. Deborah Sendick, program director of the Center of Effective Discipline, said, "Corporal punishment doesn't get us the results we want. We're not allowed to hit a prisoner. We're not allowed to hit the military. In the military. Why do we give prisoners more protection than we give our school children? Corporal punishment of children is not only dangerous, but it's also unethical." According to Oleg Kantensky of Credit News Digest, homicidal deaths of infants and toddlers were usually the result of parental attempts to control their child's behavior. These deaths appear to be unintended and related to the physical vulnerability of the child, who is smaller than the attacking adult. Who is the adult in this situation? Who should have mastered self-control? Who should be more creative in problem solving? Journalist Alan E. Kazin points out that in this country, if you do the same thing to your dog that you do to your child, you're more likely to get in trouble for mistreatment of your dog. Why is that? According to the American Academy of Pediatrics, physical punishment has been linked to a range of mental disorders problems. Research found that 2 to 7% of mental disorders were attributed to physical punishment. Now, would you want to risk that? Is our children that we're talking about, don't we want the best for them? Now, I want you to remember, I'm not saying you shouldn't use discipline. There should be discipline, but it should not be physical discipline. Think about making a discipline plan. It's really a 3-step process. Step 1 encourages the right response out of the child. Tell them what they should do and give them the chance to do it. Second, the parent must give an order. But first, they must know what they will do if the kid does not respond. You have to plan ahead. Third, for children who choose to defy their parents, the child must experience the consequences for their actions. Consequences should be reasonable and related to the incident. If the child doesn't like the consequence, well then the parent found the right consequence. My goal today is to help you understand that spanking is dangerous. To make you understand that corporal punishment doesn't get the results you want. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
No.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.